I'm here with Jim Wenk, the Managing Director of the New York Brokerage at JLL. Hi, Jim. Welcome.
Great. Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Awesome. So we are going to talk to Jim today. He's very experienced, as we've just been chatting a little bit, on the leasing side. So he not only gets to see, internally what tools JLL is developing, they're bringing on to use for the company and his people, but also maybe arguably more importantly, we're going to get into some of the technologies that your clients on the leasing side, when they're going to look for space, what are some of their expectations today? And maybe we can get into even talking about, some of the things that you may see in the future that the clients are going to be looking for. So
sure thing.
Let's start with the tech tools that you all are using at JLL to, streamline your processes, make things more efficient.
At JLL, we feel like we're on the forefront with adapting technology into our business, and obviously for the betterment of our clients.
Absolutely.
From a customer relationship management perspective,
or CRM for those that are out there.
Yep, CRM. So we've been integrating with VTS, their tenant rep platform, and they have a great mobile platform as well. So that allows us, just from a client touch perspective, to update key leasing data, market data, to all have a great systematic workflow between our team members, whoever's working on a particular project.
That's fantastic.
So we find that to be an efficient tool. And what's great about VTS is they listen to us as we're a customer of theirs. So when we have questions or we think there can be improvements, they've done a good job adapting to what brokers need. On the client side, I think more and more as time goes on, the virtual reality, AR, is going to be integrated for floor plans and visualization of spaces.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, we're starting to hear those requests from clients to not just get a 2D or 3D mock-up of a particular space, but and see how the workflow is, but they want to see actually how visualizing themselves, literally walking through the space. So I think that technology is evolving, and I could see 2 years from now it being, day to day.
Okay, so that was where I was going, and you already went there. So you think we're maybe there from the hardware standpoint, but from the adoption standpoint and getting people to use it in the mainstream, you still think we're a couple of years away?
I would say so. We're not quite there yet. Look, I have one of my clients is Snapchat, and
it's fantastic! Congratulations!
Yeah, thank you.
And, hopefully, you had some stock when they went public a couple of weeks ago.
Yes, so it's been a good run with them. But literally, when one of their first executives came out scouting out spaces with us, he was literally snapping the spaces with Evan Spiegel,
wow,
their CEO. And look, nothing's going to replace the physical walkthrough, touching, feeling the bricks and mortar, and knowing really what's happening around the asset, within the asset in the physical space, and looking to an advisor to tell them what's going on with the hotel market, what's going on with retail. Tell me about the residential population.
Right.
Our clients are looking to us to give them that data, not just the physical brick and mortar.
That's right. And I think we've seen, and it hasn't been recently, but especially now more with tech than ever, you all are not brokers just leasing space. As you're saying, you're advisors, and they're coming to you now with a lot more complex problems involving real estate that you are using these tools to help them.
Yes.
Is that about right?
Yes. And listen, clients are demanding more transparency. They're requesting more data. So aside from what the lease obligation is going to cost with all the capital, and they want to know, tell me about the shifting dynamics, again, in that residential population. Tell me about what's going on in the hotel market. Tell me what's going on in the retail market, because a lot of these clients, like the Snapchats of the world, they don't really care about the white tablecloth steak restaurant. They want to know the upscale grab and go type places that really cater to that crowd. So they're looking for us to have that data on hand and to provide to them quickly.
That's important. So, and I've talked with Pushpa about this, and this is one of the ongoing themes, is that we've been excited to work with JLL in folks like yourself, because it's easy to watch others lead and then, see what mistakes, their successes, and then follow. you all have chosen, and again, I think it's on not just for your company, but on behalf of your clients, you have decided to be a leader in the pack with some of these things. And is that how you get to work with some of these younger companies, if you want to call them hipper than your traditional, maybe what you're used to?
Yeah, I mean, listen, we acquire clients all different ways, and obviously the best way is a referral from another client or a third party. But when we go out and we have to pitch business competitively, they want to know that we're at the forefront of technology adoption. And going to a presentation and showing them that we have tools that our company has developed or that we've acquired or we've partnered with great third-party providers, they want to know that we're making that investment. And in turn, that investment in those tools will give them the better data quicker, faster.
Absolutely. I want to come back to something that you brought up as one of the first items as a tech tool, which is the Customer Relationship Manager, or CRM. As I think a lot of industries are relationship industries, but maybe no more than commercial real estate, from my estimation. So a CRM, how important is that? And then, a thing that you mentioned is how important is it not only having that CRM to manage the relationships, but then integrating in with things like VTS? Do you see that as, more and more things being integrated in?
Yeah, I mean, I think, look, personally, and, I'm not a millennial, but nothing's going to replace the relationship and building the relationship. But the relationships only take you so far. And the clients are more sophisticated, and whoever we're dealing with on the client side, they report to a contingency. They require backup data. And from the CRM perspective, not just knowing when the client's lease expires and when their renewal option date is, but if we know what they're paying and that the rents have dropped 13% in the building, maybe their lease isn't up for 4 years, but there could be an opportunity to recast their lease.
Right.
And they may choose to do it, they may not, but without having that type of data mined and easily available, that's the whole key, is having the data easily available. And it's not just from VTS. A lot of it comes from, we have a very robust research department. And
great support team.
Yeah,
yes,
I mean,
absolutely.
So they're really pushing out data and tools to us, either on demand or proactively. So they're tremendous with us, and then in turn to our clients.
Expanding on that, an organization like JLL, and you have these research, you have this great support staff that's out there, they're crunching this data. What is it between the broker coming to the client and saying, hey, with the client saying, hey guys, we need this tool, and also is it also the research team seeing and unlocking things, and do you have that relationship and communication?
Our research team definitely will customize data the way our clients want to see it on a specific basis. I would say 90% of the time, our research team has already anticipated how they're going to want to see it.
That's
so I think they do a really good job in that respect. We have quarterly meetings, monthly meetings where they present trends in the market, and they'll unlock trends that we as brokers we might have suspected, but they prove it to us.
Interesting.
And a lot of the business was years ago was sticking your thumb in the air and just saying it kind of feels like the market is pulling back or it's hot, but more and more the data and analytics are a lot more current and
Sure.
On demand. So they've done a great job anticipating what our clients would want and in turn what we would want.
That's fantastic. So what I hear you saying is, and correct me if I'm wrong, you have this interesting dynamic now where the clients are asking for this data. You guys are providing it in the custom way that they want in a timely manner. Mm-hmm. And is that as simple as the success for the future when it comes to this relationship?
Yeah, I think we have to continue building on that. I feel like there's going to be third-party providers that will be able to augment information, and some will be very useful, others may not be. But I think so whether JLL, we're going to continue to develop the resources in-house, the tools in-house, and other times I'm sure we'll partner with third-party providers. But I think it's melding that information with the broker savvy and the broker know-how, and the broker also has to, really, I think at the end of a process when a client is down to choosing 2 buildings, when they have all the data in front of them and they go to the broker, what do you think?
What do you think? Interesting. Right.
And that happened to me recently on me and my team members on a couple projects where we gave the client so much data. They were very intelligent people, but at the end they do want to know our opinion. What do you think? If you were in my shoes, what do you think?
Right.
And it's hard to put a value on that, but that's where the advice and consultation never leaves our industry.
Yeah, interesting. And also, I think what I hear you saying is, in my experience, the brokerage industry and a lot of commercial real estate has been traditionally without data. It's been through experience and through your gut, right? And so what I hear you saying now, and this is why I'm sure you guys continue being a successful global leader, is that you're matching your experience and your gut with now data that backs it up.
Yes.
And that, I think, is what, why I think you guys will continue, and a lot of people they're just not doing that in the industry yet.
Yeah, I see it, and I can tell you it's #1 priority of our company at our national conference from the top down, that we are investing heavily in technology. We have been, because our clients demand it. Ultimately, it comes down to what the clients demand, and you're always going to have that relationship part of the business, but they're just expecting more and more. They want melding that advice with data and analytics.
Right. Let's go to, you brought up, and I love this topic, 3D ARVR. Especially in a place like New York City, right, where it's massive, right? We went from Long Island into this venue yesterday. When we got to Penn Station, it took us an hour to get over here, right? So, I can't imagine, as I'm thinking, a leasing broker that has multiple clients that are looking at multiple spaces, it must be physically impossible for you to get to every single place. So a tool like ARVR, how important is that, right, before you go and show it at the end, before they actually make the decision, how important is that to kind of pre-qualify, get rid of a lot of stuff, and save your time, which equals money?
Yes, so, personally, I haven't adopted it to date. Where I see the business going within the next couple years is utilizing that resource to basically make the process of site selection more efficient, and as you mentioned. So, right now, we might curate a top 3 for a client, a top 3 or 4 opportunities, and say, and that's why they hired us, to pre-qualify opportunities for them based on their parameters. But, a lot of times we have to also show clients the 2 or 3 that we know are not going to work.
That's
so
right.
They really see the contrast.
Sure.
And that's time consuming.
That's right.
And they say, we're happy you showed us that. Don't ever show me that again. But I think the ARVR component can supplement that part of the process, and I think it all depends on who your customer is. If your customer is of the millennial generation, I think they will trust that once you show them that technology, that they're like, great, I don't need to physically see it.
Right.
But maybe someone who is a bit older, that they still want to physically see the brick and mortar and say, great, thank you for showing me that. Now we can disqualify it. Or secondly, I think when we're finalizing down to a few opportunities, that it could be, the ARVR can also be shared with all different stakeholders in the
That's
process.
right, yeah.
And they might be on a board of directors, and they might be sitting overseas. So instead of them having to jump on a plane, unless it's absolutely critical to see it, that they can get a very good sense from the physical technology that, okay, we understand, and then that goes with the data.
Sure. And let's, I would love you to come down this road with me a little, and let's paint a vision from your perspective for the audience. Let's say in your scenario, in 2 years, what does one of your brokers, how do they use the VR with your client? How do you see that playing out? Is it the client coming into the office and actually putting the headset on?
It might be.
Is it you shipping out the headset to a client?
It might be. They might have the base hardware, and you send them the adapter that has the content on it, and they just load it on. I don't know if it's 2 years, 3 years, but I think it's within 5 years that this is going to be adopted, and technology, it's changing so fast. I mean, it's tough to keep up with.
That's right.
But I think it's apparent that JLL is they're on the forefront. They're looking out for what's next, latest and greatest, and they're making the investments.
Let's talk about trends in the New York City marketplace. What are you seeing? Why is this still the financial and real estate capital of the world, and why does everyone like Snapchat need to be here?
Look, at the end of the day, it's the talent capital of the world. It has the most financial resources in the world. It has the most media in the world, and obviously we think it has the best real estate in the world.
That's right.
So companies, no matter where they're headquartered, they're headquartered and they start in different places and grow, but almost inevitably New York becomes a major hub. If they're not headquartered here, they have to have a major league presence. What I think is happening is, traditionally if you were a bank, you would be in a certain part of the city, maybe mostly in Lower Manhattan years ago, and Midtown proper, but and that's just financial services. Those walls and those boundaries have dissipated.
Why do you think? I'm sorry. Why do you think?
Yeah, well, I think it's because the city has evolved, and there's really no more underdeveloped areas, and there's just been such a resurgence from a population growth perspective, from a retail and amenity perspective, that because of the way people are living and working, there's just almost on every street corner there's a really cool hip fitness facility. Right. There's every type of place you would want to eat, from formal to the most fast casual, is almost on every corner. The city has just filled in so incredibly over the last, I'd say, 10 years. And then also what really I put a stamp on New York was the resurgence of Lower Manhattan post 9/11. People see now what has been rebuilt in and around that area, and really throughout all of Lower Manhattan, but really the World Trade Center, not just from an office perspective, but again, from a retail, from a residential perspective.
They did some sort of placemaking, around that area once the memorials and all that, because I hear a lot of residentials coming back as well.
Oh, the residential has been incredible, and it's the residential has been converting for years. On some of the old Class C type buildings on Wall Street, they were converting to high-end residential condos, but in and around the World Trade Center, there's been an significant increase of residential development, and with that, with the infill of great retail, with great infill from restaurants, it's like the place to be. And then you have the development on the west side of Midtown, the Hudson Yards,
right,
which is like the largest development in the United States, I believe. And that is going to, you walk there now and it's happening. 10 Hudson Yards is open. It's got bellwether tenants in that building.
Already.
Bellwether. But there's been just enormous commitments to other buildings that are being constructed by the who's who from media, law, finance, and it's here and it's happening. So there's definitely a shift going on around New York, whether it was down to Lower Manhattan, to the west side, and I think that's going to continue.
That's fantastic. While before we wrap up, I want to talk about, because we brought up the tenants that you're working with now. Let's take, you brought up Snapchat. What are they looking for as far as technology, amenities, when they're coming in and making a final decision?
They want to make sure the building is wired certified and it has all the bandwidth, the fiber.
So internet, critically important.
Critical. Now, they don't have data centers on site. It's all done within the cloud.
Right.
But they're curating videos 24/7. But it's really less about the technology within the space. It's more about the amenities, the access to transportation in and around the building.
Right. Jim, I really appreciate you coming and spending time with us today. You've been a wealth of awesome information, and I think you're going to be going and doing a panel soon.
Yes,
so
yes.
If we don't see you later, then good luck with that, and
Yeah,
thanks
should be
again.
fun.
Okay.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, thank you.
Yes.
Take care.